Welcome back to that God Power channel. This is the channel where we're going to unlock the God Power that's laying dormant on the inside of you. But first, today, what we're going to do is we're going to continue with our breakdown of the Bible, Matthew specifically, the book of Matthew. And last time we did chapter 15, so this time we're going to be doing chapter 16. So thank you for everybody who's been subscribing lately. We just recently got over 100 subscribers if you've seen the last video. If not, go back and watch it. It's dope. I'm speaking what was on my heart. But anyways, let's jump into chapter 16. So, chapter 16 starts off with the Pharisees and the Sadducees. They came to test Jesus, and they're like demanding him to show them a miracle, like a sign from heaven to prove that he was the authority. And Jesus, he wasn't feeling this, obviously, because he responded. He was like, they say a red sky at night means fair weather tomorrow. Red sky in the morning means fair weather all day. You know how to interpret the weather and signs in the sky, but you don't know how to interpret the signs of the times. Only evil, adulterous generation would demand miraculous signs. But the only sign I'm going to give you is the sign of the prophet Jonah. And then Jesus dipped out. So if you break that down, Jesus is basically saying that, no, I'm not about to give you no sign in the heavens, dog. Like, anybody can do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's nothing. Like, even if I did that, you wouldn't believe me. You feel me? And so Jesus was like, the only sign I'm going to give you is the prophet is Jonah, which I looked up. It's basically, again, Jonah was swallowed by a whale for 3 days, and Jesus is saying that he's going to be swallowed by the earth for 3 days and come back. So in verse 5, it says, later when Jesus and the disciples crossed the lake, they discovered that they forgot to bring some bread. And Jesus warned, watch out, beware of the yeast of the Pharisees and Sadducees. And the disciples, they started arguing with each other because they forgot to bring the bread and they didn't have no bread. And Jesus heard them and said, y'all have so little faith. Why are you arguing with each other about having no bread? Don't you understand even yet? Don't you remember the 5,000 I fed with 5 loaves of bread and the leftovers you picked up? Or the 4,000 I fed with 7 loaves and the large baskets of leftovers you picked up? Why can't you understand? I'm not talking about bread. So again I say, beware of the yeast of the Pharisees and Sadducees. And Jesus was trying to warn them, don't be listening to the messages of the Pharisees and Sadducees, because they can poison you. You know what I'm saying? It's not good for you. Even the little seeds that they're planting. You feel me? That's what Jesus was trying to tell them. And this time the disciples got it. They understood he wasn't talking about the bread. He was talking about the deceptive teaching of the Pharisees and the Sadducees. So when they got to where they were going, they got to an area called Caesarea Philippi. Jesus asked his disciples, he was like, who do people say the Son of Man is? And they said, well, some say it's John the Baptist, and some say it's Elijah, and others say it's Jeremiah, or one of the other prophets. And then Jesus asked them, but who do you say I am? And then Simon answered, he was like, you're the Messiah, you're the Son of the living God. And Jesus replied, you're blessed, Simon, son of John, because of my Father in heaven has revealed this to you. You didn't learn this from any human being. Now I say to you that you are Peter, which means rock. And upon this rock I'll build my church, and all the powers of hell will not conquer it. And I'll give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven. Whatever you forbid on earth will be forbidden in heaven, and whatever you permit on earth is going to be permitted in heaven. And then he sternly warned the disciples not to tell anybody that he was the Messiah. So that was crazy. He just told Peter, or Simon, well, he basically renamed Simon. Now he's Simon Peter. And he said that he has like the keys of the heaven. And that's because he knows who Jesus is. So I think that the message there is that Jesus wants you to know who he is, and he'll give you the keys of heaven. All right, going on to verse 21. From that moment, Jesus started telling the disciples it's necessary for him to go to Jerusalem, and that he's going to suffer a whole bunch of terrible things at the hands of the elders, the leading priests, and the teachers of the religious law, and that he's going to be killed. But the 3rd day, he's going to come back from the dead. And then Peter took him aside, and he was like, heaven forbid, Lord, this will never happen to you. And Jesus turned to Peter and said, get away from me, Satan. You're only a dangerous trap to me. You're seeing things merely from a human point of view and not from God's. Then Jesus said to his disciples, "If any of y'all want to be my followers, you must turn from your selfish ways, take up your cross, and follow me. If you truly hang on to your life, you're going to lose it. But if you give up your life for my sake, you're going to save it. And what do you benefit if you gain the whole world but lose your own soul? Is anything worth more than your soul? For the Son of Man will come with his angels in the glory of the Father and will judge all the people according to their deeds. And I'll tell you the truth, some standing here right now will not die before they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom." So Jesus said a lot right there. Basically, when he said that he was going to die, and Peter was like, "No, heaven forbid that, Lord. This is never going to happen to you." He called him Satan. "Get away from me, Satan." And that's because a Satan is a position, it's a title you look up. It's somebody, who's working against you. And that's what he was saying. He wasn't calling him the Satan, which, if you look it up, has a different name. So, that's different. And then he says, if you want to be my follower, you must turn from your selfish ways, take up your cross. Basically, he's saying, yo, listen, if any of y'all are going to question me, you're not my follower. If you're going to be my follower, just be my follower and understand it is what it is. And then he says that if you lose your soul on earth for me, if you lose your life on earth for me, then I'm going to give you everything. You know what I'm saying? The kingdom of heaven will be unlocked. And I believe he's talking about a mindset that you can use while you're living. You know what I'm saying? It's the kingdom of heaven where things will just happen for you. And then he says that don't lose your soul because nothing's more important than your soul. And there's a lot of people today, i.e. the SoundCloud rappers, or, you know what I'm saying, people term them as that. But you give up your soul, you buy into certain images and gimmicks. And it's not you, you know what I'm saying? That's not your message. It doesn't even line up. So you're giving up your soul for some worldly riches when you could have had more if you didn't. So that's just something to think about. And then he tells you that people even standing in front of him are not going to die before they see him coming back. And basically that's the truth because he already knew the future. So Jesus was dropping bombs on them. And that's the end of chapter 16. So hopefully you learned something. Hopefully we got somewhere. And if you haven't click the like button. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Our subscribers are definitely going up. So thank you for everybody who's subscribing. And I want y'all to have a wonderful, beautiful day. And remember that you got that God power.
Loving the God power. I got the God power.
Tapping the sources, calling the vibes. I just thank God I'm alive. I just thank God that I'm fly. I just thank God for my rhymes. Every night, these lyrics, they sup in my spirit. I know that you